Father Becker, Reverend Fathers, honored guests, and my brothers. Father Bakatu isn't here with us tonight, but he told me I could have an hour to talk with you all. I hope that's okay with you. I'll begin with a few stories from my childhood in which God placed the thought of priesthood on my heart. When I was a young child, my parents said that my one desire in life was to be a priest and missionary. They said this desire sprouted through my devotion to two saints in particular. One was St. Vincent de Paul, whose feast day is on my baptismal anniversary, and who himself was a priest and missionary. The other was St. Therese of Lisieux, who I have always admired for her simple pursuit of holiness. But I believe that God has continually placed priesthood on my heart ever since those initial yearnings in my heart. So I grew up in a solid Catholic family. My parents instilled the Catholic faith in my two brothers and me from a very young and early age. And yes, I was homeschooled my entire life. And what's next? You probably guessed it. I was one of those kids who played Mass all the time with my brothers. This was a big deal for us. My grandma made a couple of small chasubles for myself and my brothers to wear. We had a chalice and ciborium, an altar with stands made of wood, a mini sacramentary, and the list goes on. Playing Mass as a child further established the foundation in my mind that God might be calling me to priesthood one day, and I must continue to pursue this calling in my life. Additionally, there are always those old ladies at my parish who said to me when I was growing up, "Oh, you're such a good little boy. You're going to be such a great priest one day." And me, as a quiet young lad, just chuckled, said nothing, and went on with my life. As my middle school years came and went, my faith definitely increased. My family went to daily Mass, frequent confession, weekly holy hours, and had weekly family rosary times together. This was a great blessing to have. Also, my parish priests were a wonderful example of holiness and humility for me growing up. Moreover, to have the faith ingrained in my education through the gift of homeschooling was an incredible experience that I will always be grateful to have received. Serving at Mass at my parish during this time was another experience which deepened my love for the Eucharist and serving God at His altar. Throughout middle school and high school, I became involved in a Marian organization called Schuster. I went to many different father and son camps and even led a Schuster boys group at my parish. But Schuster engraved on my heart a deep love for Our Lady and furthermore a closer relationship to God the Father. Schuster continued to foster in my heart a desire for sanctity, and I looked to my mother Mary constantly throughout the day for guidance and help in growing closer to her Son. About the end of my middle school years, my oldest brother decided to enter the seminary out of high school. I wasn't very much surprised since he was a really smart guy and had been thinking about it for a while as well. After a year and a half of seminary, my brother discerned out of seminary. I was kind of caught off guard at this. Doubts about seminary filled my mind. I thought I wasn't as smart as my brother. I wasn't as outgoing. I wasn't this. I wasn't that. But I realized later these were all fears and doubts from the devil. As high school dragged on, God constantly placed seminary and priesthood back on my heart. I went to many Team Vianney nights. Something about the men at seminary really appealed to me. As I got further into my senior year of high school, though, I resisted the thought of entering seminary as much as I could, and the thought of marriage and going to college for a degree in computer science seemed really attractive. I pushed priesthood farther and farther from my focus. I became very selfish and stubborn in my thinking and actions toward entering seminary. So I decided to go to Bethel University out of high school. Since my brother was going there, computer science appealed to me, and seminary was just not on the top of my list anymore. At Bethel, I took a Bible class, which, although not Catholic, inspired in me a strong craving to understand the Scriptures and what it really meant to be a Catholic, as well as to be able to defend the Catholic faith when need be. Also, while at Bethel, my mother and I had a weekly holy hour together at my parish. During one of these holy hours, I was sitting in the chapel, kind of feeling lost and not sure what to do with my life. All of a sudden, a huge bright light of lightning exploded across the room, and a tremendous burst of thunder echoed throughout the chapel. Gotcha. No, I didn't experience anything of that sort. But what I did feel inside of me was that God hit me with a 2x4 saying, "Nathan, are you ready to listen to me and follow the plans I've set up for you?" I immediately relented from my selfish thoughts and desires and surrendered to God that night. I felt such peace at that moment, knowing that God would take care of me and I didn't need to worry about my future plans. After this big decision to enter seminary, there were lots of trials. I had to fill out all the paperwork for seminary while preparing for and taking finals at Bethel. And I doubted many times whether this was really the way to go or not. But God filled me with strength and perseverance to get through those hardships and enter seminary in the spring of 2011. Although there have been many trials in seminary, and I have at times been very stubborn and prideful, I have felt such peace and confidence in God's plans for me here. This is truly my home. I wouldn't rather be anywhere else in the world besides here. I have still much to accomplish and achieve in my life through God's love and mercy, but I trust that with all of the help I have here, God will continue to give me the strength and energy to persevere through seminary and hopefully one day become his priest. I urge you, brothers, to strive each day for holiness, charity, and God's will. We have every resource we need here at seminary. Let's not race quickly through the incredible gift that God has placed in our hearts. Praise be Jesus Christ.
Now and forever.